Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. Well, the weather over the weekend has been absolutely shocking again. Lots of wind, lots of rain, and quite chilly. I decided that it was a bit pointless going down to the land to try and do some work on the cabin, as I'd be spending quite a bit of time outside, and clearly I was going to get very cold, very wet, and probably accomplish not too much. So instead, I decided to have a bit of a relaxing weekend, did a bit of family shopping, but more importantly, went down to the range and spent a bit of time down there doing a little bit of shooting just to keep my hand in. Anyway, it's another day, another dollar, so I'm going to go back down to the land today and see what I can get done. Don't quite know what I'm going to achieve, but let's find out. It's 8:30 on Monday, 23rd of December. Just arrived down on the land after a couple of days of quite shocking rain again. Expecting to see a little bit of water standing around, but there doesn't seem to be that much. I noticed down this bottom end of the field as I came in, there is a little bit standing down in this corner. No more than 2 or 3 square meters, not a lot, but interesting that that's there when we get a really big rain, a couple of days of big rain, and that does get a little bit of standing water. But other than that, it's looking okay. You can tell that we're getting very close to Christmas now. It's getting darker and darker and darker in the morning. It's only just now become light. No sign of the sun yet. And all of the foliage is missing off the trees. This top end of the field doesn't seem to be any water at all standing, not even around the polytunnel, which is good news. Not quite sure what I'm going to get done today. It's getting very close to Christmas now, and everybody's, as they do, wanting to go shopping and do family visits. So I think today it'll mainly be inside, just trying to work out how to line the inside of the cabin, but we'll see as we go along. One thing I did want to check this morning was how much water has gathered in the IBC tote. So I've just quickly whipped the lid off to take a little look, and not sure if you can see on this or not, the metal struts that run around the IBC tote. If you look down to the very bottom where the valve is, first one up, you can just see the water line running along there. Well, luckily on the tank, if you can see that or not, it does actually give you a little scale running down the tote in gallons and litres. It's on the 200 litre mark on the scale. So in the last 2 days, 200 litres has gone in there, which is great news actually. I'll just pop the lid back on. Now I know how much is in there, I can just keep an eye out over the next week or so until it's full. I am expecting another tote to come at some point this week, but of course with it being Christmas I'm not quite sure when that's going to happen. But yeah, really pleased with that. 200 litres in 2 days. Bargain. Had a couple of comments in the comment section of my video on rainwater harvesting, suggesting that I put a bit of a pitch on the lid for the IBC tote where I boxed it in. So I've just been busy with that now and put a couple of strengtheners on there as well, because it is a bit flexible when you're trying to lift it out in one piece on your own. It tends to bend a little bit, so I've just braced that a little bit, and hopefully that will just put a little bit of a fall on the lid for that boxed in section. Unbelievably, I do believe the sun is actually trying to peek out above those trees. I can just see traces of it down the far end of the field, so fingers crossed over the next couple of hours I actually get some dry and fairly sunny weather. Wind is still quite brisk and quite cool, but the plan now I've finished that guttering and boxing in is to take a look at the inside. The plan is to insulate and then line the inside of the cabin. I've got some plywood there to do that, and I've got a roll of roofing insulation. Just going to experiment with that first roll to see how well it does cover, and then if it works as I think it might, then I'll continue and get a few more rolls and a few more sheets of ply, and over the next few days, assuming I get some time over Christmas, hopefully I'll be able to get this lined out. One of the first jobs before I start trying to box this in is to just run some silicone around the gaps where air might get in, or worse, water might get in. It's not a very big job this, but it's a necessary one. Just helps to give me a nice weatherproof seal, even though I am going to box or line all of the walls and the roofs. It's just a little bit of added protection. That's that little job done. I can now start to measure up. It's a little bit hard to do this and film this even on a tripod in this space. So the basic idea is take this back wall, the gable end wall. I've just taped over a couple of places where the tongue and groove boarding looked like had some little knot holes in it, so I've just taped them up for now. The idea is get this loft insulation and roll it out in between the gaps in the upright support strips, lats, whatever you want to call them, and then to hold the loft insulation in place I've got some breathable membrane, and I'll just use this staple gun to staple that onto the wooden uprights to hold the loft insulation in place, and then it's a case of using this plywood to line out the inside of the gable end wall. Far easier said than done, particularly when you're trying to balance it with only one pair of hands, but we'll see how we get on. Just laying out that breathable membrane against the back wall so that I can tuck the roofing felt inside it. One thing I do need to do, and I have done now before I forget, is to mark on the ceiling and the floor where the upright support battens are, because clearly once this is on, this breathable membrane, I'll have no clue where those uprights are, and therefore could spend forever and a day trying to screw panel to the wall and find that I'm missing those buttons that I need to screw into to hold the ply on. So just doing that now before I forget. But the first little layer of fabric is there, and the job now is to tuck in behind that with the loft insulation. That's the first section done. A little bit fiddly trying to wrestle with it to get it in, but as you can see, that's quite nice. It's around, I guess, 20 to 22 mils, something like that, of depth in there all the way down. It's quite compressed because this insulation is supposed to be 100 mil when it's expanded, so there is quite a bit in there. So yeah, that's that little section done. Just got to work my way across the wall to the end now, and that'll be it. That's halfway across, and as you can see, there's a lot of insulation in there, so hopefully that will do a nice job of keeping the cabin warm once I've got the internal sheeting done. Typical, I've pulled everything out of the cabin and it started to rain, so I'm going to have to run around now and collect up all this stuff that I left outside and try and work my way around it. This rain this year has just been incredible. I can't believe we've had so much, and the wind's actually starting to pick up as well, so if it continues raining it's not going to be looking good, but we'll crack on and get as much done as we can. Well, that's that gable wall done. I've just left a little hole there so you can see how the insulation looks tucked in there. I'll cover that over in a second, but you can see that's quite a thick amount of insulation in there, so that's nice. I'm pleased with that. And next stage is to get some interior plywood across there. Well, that's the first piece of ply for the inside lining that's been cut. It's still raining outside and it's quite windy, so trying to manage that on a set of pallets out in the field is a little bit challenging, but we're in. Just need screwing into place, and I've got to try and figure out how I'm going to do the top part, which is, as you can see, angular. Should be fun and games. Well, that's the first panel in. That was a bit of a chew. I can't imagine that the top's going to be easy either. There's some odd shapes there, but we'll see. Well, we're making progress. That's the gable end wall in, insulated and lined. That top piece was a bit of a pig to cut out. I've had to take it out of one sheet, and you can see where I've done that there. Not easy with a handsaw on that pile of pallets out there in amongst the wind. That was that was not enjoyable at all, but it is now enjoyable because it's up. So that's the first one done, and you'll see progress with the other walls and the roof in later videos. Now I need to get tidied up. I've got to pop out and do some bits outside. Christmas is coming, I can't stop it, but I'm really pleased with how that went for the first one. I do also need to get some more of this loft insulation now that I know that it works, so that's a nice job done today.
Well, that's it for this video. The experiment with the insulation and plywood worked, which is really good news. Now I know that it does work, I can go and get a few more rolls of that insulation and a couple of extra sheets of ply, and then make some more progress over the coming week to get the rest of the cabin insulated and lined out. If you liked the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have.
What do you think? How's it going? Would you do anything different, or have you got any top tips to save me agonising with only one pair of hands? Let me know in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.